What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the House of Holocrons podcast. We are on episode 80, and in this one, we're going to be covering a lot more of these juicy, awesome drops we just got from San Diego Comic-Con, as well as the future for some of the Black Series and Vintage Collection figures to come out, the pipelines. And then after that, we will be talking about, with all the recent things going on in the Marvel, DC, and other worlds, why Star Wars, being one of the few to remain in this singular timeline, is definitely going to be the best thing for it. No more jumping around. So make sure to stick around through the entire podcast, as we will have so many things to talk about. So, kind of first off then, we can start with, I'll get some of these Black Series stuffs out of the way. It's actually really nice to see because we've, because San Diego Comic-Con, we got our eyes not only on a few figures, but pre-orders and stuff have already come out. So one of the ones that pre-orders are already pretty much out for a lot of these, we have the Imperial Super Commando, which that was an amazing figure to get. I'm very happy we got that guy finally from the Mandalorian series. We have Ahsoka the White, which is the joke that will be made forever and always about Peridia Ahsoka outfit. Same exact everything sculpt, just with different, sculpted clothing, so different torso and legs to a degree. It's still poopy pants. We got Deidre Morrow. Amazing to finally get to see her. Female ISB agent as well, so that'll help for a lot of shelves just to have multiple of these. We have almost Rogue One, but Cassian Andor from the Andor series. This is like late season 1 when he is a spy. That one's out now too as well. And we do then, of course, we have the updated vision for the Thrawn as is played in live action Ahsoka figure, which, man, it's a little eerie how good it looks, seeing Lars Mikkelsen just put in plastic like that. But I don't know if I'm going to need another Thrawn. I definitely don't think I need another Ahsoka. I love Ahsoka to death, but if it came with a white robe and stuff, maybe. But I'm kind of surprised that one is a no soft goods, just straight up figure, like a lot of her last few figures have been.
Yeah, I mean, we made the joke because we were talking about all the figures coming out. I think pretty sure Ahsoka at this point has the most figures out of anyone in both TVC and Black
Maybe, but Din Djarin's right there next to her.
I think there's more Ahsokas than Din.
Yeah. We also
I'd have to see the chart, but I think so.
I'd be excited. Actually, that'd be a fun one. We'll do that chart here soon, guys.
Put it
in the comments what you think.
You're still pumping out Ahsokas too, which is
wait, yes. So by the end of 2025, guys, put down in the comments who do you think will have the most figures? Will it be Ahsoka because the Ahsoka series, or will it be Din because the upcoming Mandalorian movie? Who knows? But with Mandalorian,
because she's in more shows.
True. With Mandalorian stuff, we also do have IG-11 mech suit edition with little Grogu inside of him and stuff, and Zellin. That's a fun set. I might end up getting that one literally just for the Grogu and the Zellin. I don't care less about another IG-11. Yeah,
you get 2 of them in there. That's the crazy part.
It's a pretty,
honestly, I'm
pretty
surprised they put those 2 in there because I knew they were going to do the upskill for the Grogu added in, but adding those 2 just seems like, I'm just surprised they were in there. It feels like they would normally. I mean, they're almost identical, so it's not that special, but it's I mean, it's almost getting something free at that point.
It's kind of like, well, I mean, like with this one, honestly, I'm so surprised with the OSHA one because it has blaster, backpack, pips.
I feel like we've been getting more on that. More stuff lately has more like stuff in a package. Which is
the Jedi are still only coming with like their lightsaber and that's it, because that's all a Jedi needs, right? But I am happy that not being deluxe price, but getting a lot more stuff actually like inside the figure. That's been really fun. A lot more accessories.
Well, yeah, it's because like we get like the Jedis get a lightsaber, the troopers will get like 1 or 2 blasters, sometimes 2, sometimes 1. So that's not new, like with the Jet Trooper, but with the other people, it's like you feel kind of shorted sometimes. It's like same price as the Trooper, but I'm getting more out of it.
Hopefully, and with some of these pipelines, we'll actually, so the big ones, we're getting a Kanaka from the Acolyte, super excited for another Wookiee and a Wookiee Jedi. That's going to be awesome. We're getting Moff Gideon in his final Mandalorian armor from the Mandalorian, which is going to be an amazing figure. Hopefully he comes with a few like accessories. That'd be really fun. Now, the next guy, this is a big accessory must-have. The Praetorian Guard that we see from Mandalorian, the ones who take down Paz Vizsla, the awesome, like, almost Greco style helmet. They should have the different, like, that one, it's kind of like with the same Praetorian Guards from Snoke and, like, all those. They need to have multiple weapons with one, so they can just have them different weapons, or I guess just be okay with releasing the variants. But I don't see them doing
or
variants
the
in
set,
packaging.
because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
do it, or to do like a multi pack. Cause they've done
Mm-hmm.
multi packs even in Black Series. Not as common as the TVC, but sure.
Now, then
But,
moving on, we
yeah,
have Hayden Christensen's Ahsoka Anakin Skywalker. So that one is going to probably have almost the exact same body sculpt as the Clone Wars figure we've already gotten from Target exclusives,
yeah,
probably about like a year or two ago. But I'm just expecting a far more photo real face, whereas that one was based much more on the Clone Wars. Is this needed? I don't know. I mean, hopefully, it'll sell. Like, I'm happy it'll sell. I may end up getting one if it comes with something cool. If it comes with some different stuff, I might end up grabbing him. But I'm sure it's just going to be
yeah.
blue
I'd like to see a
lightsaber.
side by side comparison for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Then, speaking of Clone Wars, we are also getting a season one Rex from the Ahsoka series, but it is saying it's supposed to be based more off of his Clone Wars appearance. So a Phase 1 Rex, that's very exciting for the hardcore clonies out there. I'm on the fence. If this is a really marvelous sculpt, comes with like a removable helmet or something like that, and it's all its Phase 1 glory, I'll pick it up. But having a Rex already, I might be okay. I know a lot of people are definitely grabbing this one though. This is gonna sell out
Yeah,
really quick when it
Rex
does.
always sells out.
Mm-hmm. Now, to me, this next clone is way more important because it's just when we haven't ever gotten, and it's a shame. But we're finally getting from Episode 3, we're getting Commander Bakara from the 21st Star Corps, or the Galactic Marines, the guy who helped take down Ki-Adi-Mundi. You see him for a brief second in the Revenge of the Sith Order 66 scene. Looks awesome. Those Galactic Marines have always been a favorite of mine.
I think it's funny that he's coming out right when Ki-Adi-Mundi's
Yeah.
comes out as well.
It's perfectly timed. I'm actually surprised because they're doing this that they're not then later. It'd be so smart
Yeah,
of them to drop then a Galactic Marine and Ki-Adi
yeah.
Mundi, like that
We
2-pack
definitely
they've
did
been doing.
Galactic Marine.
We
Yeah,
need a Galactic Marine bad. Then we're also getting another Clone Wars figure, which is the BX Commando droid. That's a big one for a lot of people. I'm not as the BX Commando droids are dope. I'm not as huge of a fan of them as I am as the B1s and the Super Battle droids, just because they're more in the movies. But
yeah.
it's still going to be awesome to get another droid like this.
I'm a pretty big Commando fan, so I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
excited.
And then to end it up, we do then have Prince Xizor from the what is that one? Yeah, Shadows of the Empire book series. So we'll be getting a Prince Xizor to throw in with
Which
the
straight out
Jorah
of left field for
Sabayoth.
sure.
And, oh yeah, that was one of those rare ones we
Yeah.
didn't see coming. The thing that sucks is that was the guy that was leaked with Savage Opress. So does that mean did Savage get pushed? Is Savage okay? Where is Savage? That's what I care more about. I want that Savage Opress figure.
I'm sure. I don't know. I'm sure it'll still come out. I
Mm-hmm.
don't see why they wouldn't. That
Yeah.
one for sure. That one will be very sold out when they ever do Savage. He's pretty popular.
Yes, Savage is a very popular one. Hopefully, it's a deluxe. It'll come with some cool stuff.
I wonder if the reason they did the Commando droid is they're maybe getting the scope ready for when they do, because they may do a set based on the new game coming out with Outlaws.
Oh, true. Yeah, that'd be
So I
yeah.
wonder if they maybe will get an Outlaw variant because they do have the droid from that,
Man,
which I wouldn't see why they wouldn't.
I'll be. It's just gonna be a little kick in the shins for some like Jedi collectors, though. It's like, why would we're gonna give this trench coat to a droid before we can give Ahsoka a robe for like any of her figures? I don't know.
Well,
I just don't get why that Peridia one doesn't come with the white robe and the staff. Like it really. Oh man, that would have made that figure an immediately sell
well,
out.
it's weird. Vernestra got her for she got full robes. But I don't know why Ahsoka didn't.
Yeah, it's
My
a.
only guess is they wanted to show the sculpt,
Mm-hmm.
but they still could have included
It's like,
them.
but all of her like past 5 figures are her with her armless, space
Yeah.
tank tops doing her thing. But I just feel like the robe would have been better. And these new robes are awesome. The new robes I've been testing out and seeing with the Acolyte figures, they're super nice and soft, and they're doing really good with the new soft goods. But yeah, if
I
that's my
would
biggest
like to
complaint,
get. I wish we could get a Wookiee that isn't fully hard as well.
that would
But
be
I
nice.
know it'd be
Yeah,
hard.
yeah,
It would be. Yeah, it's possible, but I
mhm.
guess that'd be too difficult.
You're almost
Yeah.
reaching like the 12-inch doll area if you're gonna have them be kind of
Yeah.
hairy.
It doesn't have to be fully hairy. They could do like the old felt fuzz. They
Hmm.
could do. They could do hair, like especially him that he's wearing clothes. They could input hairs like they do because they have like dolls that are
Yeah.
smaller that have hair. It could be the same principle, but
I mean,
I
hey,
guess the
if
consistency would be hard to do, but I don't know.
right, if a figure that you can play around with and then have a few hairs poking out, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's kind of like with Star Wars itself. This is a bit more for kids than people want to admit it, but it's not. It's the collectors and the 30-year-olds and the 40-year-olds
Well, the Black
who,
Series isn't for kids. You can't
yeah.
really play around with those very well.
But it's definitely a lot of fun. But the TVC seems to also have a lot of good things getting ready to come out.
Yeah, we're getting the same exact Ahsoka. Exact same Ahsoka.
Yep.
We are getting a.
While you guys are hitting like and subscribe again, yeah, if tell us which figure you think has the most, and then if you do the research, let us know the answer on who actually has the most.
We're getting the Cobb Vanth.
Oh yeah, the deluxe one, right? It's a big guy.
Yeah, you're getting Cobb Vanth. You're getting his removable helmet, jetpack. Well, we got the helmet too. We got jetpack and it's got the booster flames that can attach to it.
Okay.
We get it because of the pistol and rifle. So it's pretty nice, I guess. The head sculpt is kind of ugly, but
yeah.
I'm hoping that in person it looks better. But what we've seen,
yeah.
I don't like the head sculpt. It makes him look like 20 years old. Like it looks like he's got full gray hair.
Yeah.
Like, way more than he does. What I'm kind of excited about is the jetpack trooper.
Oh yeah,
actually, I'm pretty sure I pre-ordered that one.
What's he look like? Oh, he does look really old. Wow.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it looks like he's. Yeah, not been able to fight anymore. We had a jetpack trooper. I don't think we've gotten one yet. Not of that stuff, because that's like the old school jetpack trooper.
Yeah, that is a gorgeous.
Not the old school. The old school one is like really bulky and like bluish silver color.
Yeah, but they were hilarious looking. Then they turned into the Dark Trooper.
The Ahsoka Thrawn, so the live action Thrawn, and then we got a couple. We got a playset and we got a combo of the Blorg and Mandalorian.
Which, hey, a lot of people were asking for that. It's very awesome when people are specifically asking for things and then that gets received. I'll give this to TVC. The Black Series has some amazing people behind it. They do really good with figures and getting us stuff. But the TVC line listens really well to what the people want. So, hey, guys, in the Black Series, if we all come together and start doing podcasts like the TVC guys do, they'll listen to us as well.
Yeah, I typically don't get TVC very often because some of the scopes kind of are bland. But the Blorg scope, what I've seen out of package, actually looks really strong.
Yes, it does look
really good scope. Kind of jealous. Might have to just sneak it into my Black Series line and see if nobody knows.
It's a baby Blurg.
And then the other one we get the Armor's Forge, which comes with a lot. Full forge comes with little fire effects, comes with hammers, tools. One of my favorite part is the multiple helmets.
Yeah.
That the helmets that's built. Comes with a little Grogu for no reason, but hey, cool.
With an exposed chest armor.
Yeah, I actually saw there's the actress who plays the armor. She actually reviews the whole set for playing with it. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I'll need to look that up. I'll
have to send it to you. I watched it earlier today. I should have sent it to you. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine.
My bad. But yeah, Amazon's getting the Blorg, and Pulse is gonna get the Armor's Forge for those that are looking for those two sets.
Okay.
And then we got a bunch in the pipeline. We got more pipeline than we did Black Series.
Yeah.
From Acolyte, we got Endara and Yord.
Which a lot of people, hey, there you go. I'm a little weirded out, though. I feel like they're going to be getting the rest of the Acolyte before they ever get the rest of the Bad Batch.
Well, funny thing is they're rounding off Andor still, which Black Series also is too, because we're also getting a Deidre and TVC. Super late to the ball game is Obi-Wan from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show series. But this is one that he looks like he's wearing his almost Tatooine outfit, I think. But I missed the picture, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's his like final hello to Luke Skywalker moment.
Yeah, we get him with the goggles and stuff. It's near the end of this series, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Then we're getting Phase 1 Clone Trooper Lieutenant. We already got one with the Black Series, so they're going to get one for the TVC. But this one,
Yep.
it says it's from Ahsoka. I think the whole Ahsoka thing, I think it's just them trying to do troopers and like
Oh yeah.
sticking Ahsoka on it, just say so it's not like a late Clone Wars thing. I don't see why it's not the Clone Wars
I think it
or
would
from
sell better.
Episode 2.
It would actually sell better if the
Yeah.
card back and the imaging from the card was Clone Wars.
That would be the only thing it would change, would be the Ahsoka card back.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's Episode 2. Maybe shaped a little funny because the armor's not digitally rendered, so it'll
be a little bulkier.
Yeah, probably not though. And then we're gonna get what they also claim from Ahsoka, which I guess it is in the same, but it's the Maul Death Watch Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It's also a weird Ahsoka tag to be a part of, but
well, it's also because like I literally have, I think the old one right here is one of the other Mandalorian. We recently had one.
I think they're reprinting it, either making them a little bit nicer, or they're just reprinting and adding a new card back.
I could, yeah. I'm gonna see this as probably a newer reprint with just a new card back and a new image.
Yeah, it is. It is weird that we're getting, but it's like, hey, it's from Ahsoka, but it's like it isn't even on the screen for 5 seconds. So
right.
It was cool seeing. Just we'll share some more of it. You know me. And then we got Balin and Shin from Ahsoka as well.
Finally coming to TVC. Yeah, so that's awesome.
They're a lot late to the ballgame for TVC. When
Black Series has had theirs for a while now.
Yeah, Black Series usually gets the newest thing out. It's kind of weird. And then Vintage is just like, I feel like sometimes with Vintage Collection they just got a dartboard.
Yes, that's what I was just thinking too. Like it's a dartboard. It's like and you know what? Bad Batch, rest of the squad. It's like right there in the center. It's a bullseye, and they're just not hitting it.
Yeah, it's in the one spot they can't hit.
Yeah.
But at least you rounded out with the Shin and the Balin, because Balin's a really awesome figure.
Yes, the Balin and Shin card backs also have the potential to be really good. Really good.
Speaking of Balin, I know there's apparently a new. I haven't been caught up because I don't want to pay. I know the reason why the release, they do it on purpose. You pay 3 months worth of HBO, but there's apparently a character on the show of the season 2 of the House of Dragon that looks similar to him. He almost looks like a younger version of him.
Oh, really?
People are wanting to play Balin as his replacement.
Huh, okay.
I'll have to watch the show and see how well he acts and everything.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're doing the same thing. We're going to wait for it to come out, and then we'll watch, like, binge through the House of Dragons, because it's just another thing to pay for.
Yeah. And I'd rather binge it anyways. I mean, they're long episodes, but they're the type of show that leaves it constantly on cliffhangers, and it's such a pain. I hate. You don't have to do it. Almost feels like they're trying to.
They're trying to make up for that last season. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. They want to keep you around and to get to the very last episode.
Yeah.
So you don't leave early.
But we're definitely excited for the things that we've gotten from the San Diego Comic-Con. And speaking of not leaving early, Star Wars tried its best to not leave us out completely in the dark. And we finally have 4 more pieces of news about Skeleton Crew. The big one, of course, being
Lego minifigure leaks.
Yeah, Lego minifigure leaks again. But December 3rd, we're finally having a full, like, hey guys, December 3rd is when the show is going to be coming out. Yeah. And we'll be getting have another holiday Star Wars fun.
So the interview saying they wanted it to be a Christmas thing was true. He did. So we are getting a December release, which is a Tuesday. So I guess we're not doing Wednesday anymore. We're doing a full Tuesday now for all shows, which is interesting.
Hey, I'm fine with it, especially at this better like 6 p.m., 8 p.m.
Because for a while it was Wednesday was the release, I believe.
Yeah.
But you could watch it on Tuesday night. So now they're just like, hey, we're just gonna. You guys are watching on Tuesday. Might as well just release the whole thing on Tuesday.
Right. I'm down.
And then we got a bunch of images of the characters.
The kids look like awesome kids, and that's just real quick. I know it's one of those things where no one should have to say it. We do. Be nice to these fucking kids, internet. Hey,
yeah,
I'm talking to you. Be nice. The kids. They didn't choose. So that's the biggest thing. Their lines were given to them. The costume was put on them. They're just there to deliver. And I'm sure it's going to be fun if you turn your brain off and just be like, I'm just going to watch this.
I know we've had really good acting with a lot of kids lately. I mean, look at Obi-Wan. One of the highlights was Leia, and then I even act like the actresses that played the young girls.
Yes.
They did really well. Some of the lines were a little bit choppy, but that's not their fault. Again, the delivery was really well, and especially coming from children.
Yeah.
Really hard to do. So yeah. We got some interesting images though. We got
super fun images.
Things, I don't know if you noticed, it has the iDroid from like Jabba's palace.
Oh yeah.
Probably not in Jabba's palace though, because I believe we're not going to Tatooine. But same droid, which is interesting. We get some mini speeder bikes.
Yes.
They're like children. That can't be safe at all.
The
like children's swoop bikes.
What everyone is assuming is the Azolan, which I assume it is as well. So we have another one of Max Rebo's species now, the blue elephant people.
Yeah.
He even has little streamers on his little bike, and it's amazing.
And then we getting another droid, which is the droid from Jabba's palace, I believe.
Yeah.
He's also, but again, I don't think this is Jabba's palace. It's just
I think they are going to Tatooine. If I remember correctly, there's a whole scene where like it comes out of the eye
and then we getting a bite, a swoop with a sidecar.
Yeah.
On the last image, as well as the girl that has a glasses from Star Trek. So
yeah, and we've gotten like a new side view of Jude Law. I saw something. I've been trying to look into it, like where they like didn't confirm or something, but like that he's a Jedi. I hope that's not. I don't know.
I don't know. I hope not. And if he is, I hope it's more of a canon thing where he like hides it.
Yeah, that's what I would hope for too, because I love the idea of there being another Jedi, but it had to be done really. You're gonna have to win over a lot more people than just me to do this.
If they make him a Jedi, it almost does feel like they'd be stepping on Rebels' toes, because it kind of feels like he's a really similar to and just won't be as cool as Kanan's.
Yeah.
You can't beat Kanan. Kanan was an awesome character. And those that disagree need to actually watch the show and not watch the first couple episodes.
That's a hell of a name. Jod Na Naywood. All right.
Yeah, I think we've only gotten a few names so far. Oh, did they announce the full names yet?
Not entirely, but yeah, hailing from.
We got Neil, which is also the.
So IMBD has this little thing saying the new show stars Jude Law as Jod Na Naywood, a quick-thinking Force user whose path crosses with an adventuring group of children.
Oh, Jod's a bad name. I'm sorry.
I love it. Jod Na Naywood.
And Neil's such a funny name for the
Neil with 2 E's.
The elephant kid.
Heck yeah, bro.
His eyes are so huge.
Yeah, I mean, look at Max Rebo. Max Rebo's eyes are massive.
Are they? I don't remember.
But hey, if he's a Force user, like smuggler, kind of like he knows of the Force, maybe flunked out of the Jedi League and just left, I'd be okay with that. I just don't want him to be just a Jedi.
Honestly, I don't have the most confidence for the show. I think it's just going to be like a fun little show to watch, but I'm not like expecting any like. I think it's just going to be like more for children. I think it's going to be kind of just really. I don't think it's going to be very deep. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm completely wrong. I'm not excited. I've been dying for this show.
I feel like it's also the fault though of them not having any press material for the show. So what do we have to be excited about? I'm excited to see Jude Law. I'm excited to see some kid aliens, and like you said, because I have a child, I'm excited to see my kid get to see kids in Star Wars doing stuff. So you can be like, oh, that's cool. I want him to be inspired by that. But yeah, I'm not excited for this either, because there's nothing to be excited about because they've given us zero.
And what they've said so far, nothing super to get me excited about.
Aside from our general excitement for getting more Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the Lost in Space storyline.
Hmm.
I'm familiar with the novel and the old show. I've watched pretty much.
The
I even
novel,
watched.
the old show, the remaking of the novel, the remaking of the show,
Yeah, they did a series,
the
and
movie.
I watched most of it. I don't think I watched all of it. I can't. I think I stopped because it kind of got
Yeah.
a little bad. And the second, I don't remember the most recent season. I don't think I finished. I probably
Hmm.
did. It all kind of meshed together. Honestly, it's one of those stories that really didn't need to be a series because you start just dragging on stuff that
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah, it should just be over. Um, but yeah, it's it'll be there, and like I said, we'll watch it. Maybe if they drop an awesome trailer, then yeah. And then we also have Outlaws coming
Oh, so
in
exciting.
about like a month and a half, I guess
Yeah, I
now.
got to save up some money for that.
Oh, not even it's more like a month at this point, right?
It's not far out.
Yeah.
That's I gotta save me some moolah.
Yeah, I won't really get to play it when it comes out because I will be going on vacation. So
Hmm.
I maybe have one day of playing it, and then yeah. So I'll get to play it a lot when I come back.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, that's to look forward to. And I think that's pretty much it that we know of Star Wars, at least this year.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the big thing is this is gonna be it for the rest of this year. We probably won't. I mean, the biggest announcements are usually going to be coming out what May 3rd, May the
right.
4th.
I think the only thing we know hard drop next year for sure is well, are we getting it as the Young Adventures? Is that this year or is that next year?
Oh, the Young Jedi Adventures. I don't
Yeah,
remember exactly, but yeah, it's late this
I'd
year.
have
It's
to look.
probably
I
next
know
year.
that. Well, I know for sure Andor's coming out next year,
Hmm.
and I don't think anything else. And the only reason why we know that is because it got delayed due to the strikes. Um, Other than that, we don't know any. We know upcoming projects, but we don't have any hard dates on. We don't
Yeah.
have any. We know Andor's already pretty much mostly recorded at this point. I know they've been redoing a lot of the scenes because of the big time issues with the strike because they had some stuff recorded and they didn't get it all recorded. They had the strikes
Hmm.
that had to stop. And so now they re-record some of those scenes and then finish. I'm pretty sure by this point they're done recording. So at least we're getting that,
Yeah,
which I'll
that'll
be
be a big one.
excited for. You know, it's my favorite show that
Yeah.
we've had so far. Um, yeah, it's we're gonna have we call what I like to call Star Wars drought for a bit.
Yep.
But to keep us busy, I know we're getting some good books coming out.
Oh yes,
Um,
we're definitely getting. Let's see. We have the. I think Tessa Groton is doing the one that is going to be based around Indara and Master Vernestra
yeah,
Rowe about 20 years before the Acolyte. So we're getting to feast on some more juicy Acolyte gossip and see what's going on with our favorite Jedi and why they're not doing good as much as they should anymore. See, yeah,
and then we're
the other
getting the
one.
new and they're starting to switch the
Hmm,
non-High Republic era novels, switching that era now to post Episode 6 era. Um, so hopefully seeing some Luke building up the Jedi
yeah.
Academy and anything else we might see.
Yes, I
Uh,
believe there's
I,
because there's a manga
I
coming
hope
out.
it's nothing to do with Mandalorian.
Oh yeah.
I would like to see that era before I don't want to hear anything about Mando. Just because we're going to get a lot of Mando here soon.
Mm-hmm.
It just would be nice to hear the other stuff. Like I said, Luke's Academy is the big one.
Yep.
What else? Of course, the political side of the new alliance that is going to do horribly, as we could see in Mando. So yeah, it's some new stuff to look forward to, especially if you like reading the books. But
I know one of the
um,
things I'm excited for too, though, with this earlier Acolyte comic, is hopefully this will tell us what happened with Chimere and Renestra. Yes, no, Tessa Groton is doing the one that will be the Yord and Jecki untitled novel, and then Justina Ireland will be doing a Wayseekers novel about Indara and Renestra Rose. So that's going to be super.
yeah, well, I hope that if they have him in it, I hope they don't say it's him. I hope they call him
Mm-hmm.
and you don't, and they like reveal it at the end. You like connect the dots. I mean, it'll be obvious,
Yeah.
but she's had a couple Padawans, so I hope they just like it's like they make you think it's just some Padawan. You don't realize it's him.
True.
I think that'd be kind of
Returning.
cool.
I'm excited to see if they got to touch on it a little or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, that would be nice. There's also the manga coming out, Star Wars Premonition. So that has
Oh
a
yeah,
really
yeah,
fun
yeah.
cover with Yoda. So I have no idea what that one's going to be about, but it's definitely going to involve something around Yoda and the Nameless. That's going to be very importante. But yeah, the comics, we're getting Kelnaka is getting his comic. That'll be a predecessor to everything else. The end of the High Republic comics, the last set, because we're getting into the end of the books too. That'll be dropping here soon, and that will also have Kelnaka with Skier and Keeve and the most recent people we've been seeing, because Wookiees live for a long time. So we're about to get a lot of Kelnaka stuff for all the people who are sad that Kelnaka was immediately dead in the Acolyte. Don't worry, here comes your Kelnaka being a badass. So there's that at least. And then
Yeah.
the Battle of Jakku is going to be a big part of upcoming Star Wars stuff and the time around it. So getting to see
Yeah.
the First Order building up and getting to see Kylo out again. One, betraying who he is, learning that he no longer wants to be Ben Solo. What happens with the temples and Luke's temples and his other students, if he has many or any. That's all going to be a lot of questions, hopefully answered, because those are some big ones we still need to figure out what's going on. And that's a great way for them to like span off new stories, to be like, one of the people who lived through Kylo Ren's attack, here's his story. It's at least after everything, so like it's new in an open galaxy that doesn't remember Jedi very much. You have this new like Force user. It's awesome. We're down for that.
Yeah. And then also the idea might be difficult to realize that since the Empire's not in charge anymore, you don't have to hide. Some places you still might have to hide.
Yeah.
Because we could see that even in Mandalorian, that there's still Imperial control.
Mm-hmm.
There's still places that are still kind of used to the old ways of things. So it's a mix of like, hey, we don't have to hide anymore, but it's just like how things happen in our real world, where
Mm-hmm.
there's a new thing happens, like when they finally allowed gay people to marry.
Yeah.
There's still many states, and at least in the United States, that still took a long time to adjust, and it's still to this day, a lot of people
Trying
still
to fight
struggle
it.
with that thought.
Yeah.
So it's a human thing, and so I hope they include that. I hope they looks like, hey, Jedi are illegal now. Like, calm down.
Yeah. The big thing too with this new Jedi, this new stuff, would also just be its ability to push the boundaries on like so many of these stories. I almost kind of wish Mandalorian was over. Like I'm excited to see the new season in the movie, but I want it to be done so we can see what they become. Like because we're not going to get that in the movie. It's not going to be some grand, glorious Mandalore has regrown and all the people are oh, it's so nice. That's not going to happen in that movie.
Yeah.
I want it to be done. Imagine 200 years in the future, Rey's order has done this and this, and it's like giving us some exposition for the movies coming up or something like that. And we get like, oh yeah, 30 years after all of this, Mandalore is a thriving planet, at least now on a trade route, and there you can see pockets of green starting to regrow as the Mandalorians tend to their planet and like rebuild their community and their clan structures and stuff. Like I would love that in a comic. But we need to be done with it. And is Grogu going to be Mandalore or not? What's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But that's kind of, we can transition to some of the things we were talking about, whether they're multiverses or and my suggestion of, and I've kind of stolen this from somebody that is not the best person to listen to about Star Wars, but I did agree with them that constantly bouncing all over the timeline does hurt the audience, especially newer audiences. And I think a more of a focus on a timeline. I know I would love to see High Republic. I'd love to see the post with the Mando. I'd love to see, in the in-between what we get with like Andor, which is bouncing all over the place. It's like, hey, I'm going to sit down and watch this, but I'm going to let you guys know, because I dig deep and I know you guys don't, but I'm going to let you know this is between this and this movie, just so you can get a frame of reference. And then we're going to watch another show that's after all these movies, but before this movie coming out. So it is confusing for the general public and for people that aren't super hardcore Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
So I think it does them a disservice, and yeah, it does confuse because I think back of some of the shows, and I got to remember, no, that was from this show. This happened. We've actually made that mistake before a
Mm-hmm.
couple times about mixing up different scenes, because
Yeah.
especially when they go on Coruscant, it's really similar setting. So because they go on it during Mandalorian and they go on it during Andor, and there's one scene that we got actually mixed up
Yeah.
because yeah, it happened. Uh, I love seeing them. I don't want to say I don't want to see them. I just think
Right.
they should do a pair like, hey, we're gonna do this block, which they compared it to the Marvel like phase blocks
Mm-hmm.
of like we're going this phase, we're gonna cover this period and then this period. I just think it'd be nicer, but you know,
It would definitely help to solidify like ideas of timelines for people.
yeah,
Um, but then at the same time, like yeah, we do still need these other little blips into Old Republic or High Republic because then it keeps the mind fresh of like, oh, what else is there? But yeah, a little bit like we don't need 4 or 5. It's maybe like 2 or 3, but we don't need like 4 or 5 different timelines in the same 3 year time span. Like I can kind of get behind that, but I'm also just really excited for hopefully the continuation of like a what if show is cool. The idea of
yeah,
it's out there, but no different
yeah,
verses. Like the fact that they even went through Mustafar when they were doing the What If series, that at least I was like, whatever. They're like
yeah.
they're flying through every single known universe ever through a fight. That's fine, but don't try to bring in anything from outside. Don't just leave
Well,
it alone.
well, that
Everything
was
like
one
that's
thing I
what a
was
lot
gonna
of.
bring up because they announced during SEC that
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek is gonna cross over with Doctor Who,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, Star Wars doesn't really do that. I don't want to see that.
Right. I'm
Um,
okay with it.
I think the only thing I'm okay with when we talk about the whole multiverse thing,
Mm-hmm.
um, the what if shorts that we've seen before, but the new Lego movie coming out,
Yeah.
I think that's fun. I think it's the only time I'll excuse crossovers
Mm-hmm.
and
Darth Jar
timeline
Jar.
changes. Is Lego? It's fun.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. We know that's not canon. I mean, the games already do that anyway. So, and then we have the Lego movie. They have Star Wars characters mixed with DC, with Lord of the Rings, everything because they have own everything pretty
Yeah.
much, or rights to everything in Lego form. So I'm okay with it in the Lego movie, but to make like a show where we have a character from another series or the whole or adding a multiverse to Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we need to expand that far.
Yeah. I agree. It's one of the few times that it can stay like this and it's okay and it doesn't need some big
Yeah.
grandiose like meeting of people. Like we've got Anakin. Anakin can talk to Luke through the Force. He doesn't need to actually have like a father and son Kamehameha moment. Like I love Dragon Ball Z to death, but we don't need that payoff. That's fine.
Well,
But
we don't have to do a
never knowing,
multiverse to do that. You can
yeah,
do that with like a Force Ghost. It doesn't really need to happen, but you could do a
exactly.
Force Ghost situation with that.
So they've already fixed that at least. So like they're always there. It's always you can pull a lot of them right out of the ether right then and there.
Yeah.
But it's also nice because it's a crutch that so many other industries and so many other of these big franchises have tried to use, and none of them have done it really that well. Like
Well,
I'll say again, I know you haven't seen it, so no spoilers here, but guys, you got to go check out the Deadpool Wolverine movie because it kicks a lot of that around, and it's very true. These other big franchises, DC, they have to literally revamp everything so much that they have to have the
yeah.
idea of multiverse. But with Star
But
Wars, we're lucky enough to have a
yeah.
driving line.
It causes more problems than it
Mm-hmm.
does. It makes it's a big plot hole. You could just say time travel, but then because they did that with the movie and it was acceptable, there were some holes there. We were like in game and stuff, when they went
Mm-hmm.
back and they tried to fix some things. But the more they added these movies, especially the post stuff, it caused more rifts than
Mm-hmm.
they needed to, and it caused a lot of issues. And then they developed, you know, they have the issue right now they had with like to do with Kane because the actor they set all this up, these weird timelines. It all led up to Kane, even though it didn't really make sense how they had it set up with
Right.
Kane, because originally there was a million of them, and then he killed them all, but then there were some more, and then all of a sudden he was Doctor Doom, and then now he isn't. He's going to be Robert Downey Jr., and a
That
lot of
dude.
people are obsessed with
Look,
that.
just for a
Upset.
second.
People are excited and upset. It's just yeah,
We'll talk Marvel for literally a second. That was one, a surprise I did not see coming, and two, a surprise I think the world is having the correct reaction to with how many of us are going. Wait, Why? What? What? Huh? Why? Why?
Robert. Yeah, it's so weird because, well, at least Wolverine returned when he said he would never do it. At least he was
Hmm.
returning as Wolverine.
Yeah.
Um, and then, but him returning, I don't know. It's just confusing. It wasn't necessary.
Hmm.
Um,
Another thing I'm happy with Star Wars is like
yeah.
if Luke Skywalker is not going to have a cameo before he was born, or you're not
Yeah.
going to the most he's
Or
going to do
that.
now is like you're going to hear his voice talk to Rey. But
Or,
and I need Star Wars to let people die too.
yeah.
Like I love Princess Leia, but we don't need scenes with Carrie Fisher's 3D remakes in these movies that much. We really don't
So,
need it.
some movies it pays off. Like the Spider-Man, I thought
Hmm.
was paid off really well,
Yeah.
and that was more of like a nostalgia, like homage to like all the past Spider-Man,
Hmm.
the two other Spider-Mans. I thought that was actually really good. I don't. I wouldn't complain because we haven't seen those movies in forever, and they didn't detract from anything within the
Yes.
storyline. It just played like, hey, those of you that watch original Spider-Mans, remember these scenes. We're going to reprise you with nostalgia. It
Yeah.
was good. But to focus the whole thing on it, I think ruins the Marvel storyline. Now, Deadpool, I haven't seen the movie, but what we had time travel a little bit in the past, I don't complain as much because Deadpool doesn't take it seriously, and
Yeah.
and that's the whole point of Deadpool. You can't take the movie seriously. He breaks the fourth wall all the time. That's his
Right.
secret superpower. People, besides healing, he breaks the fourth wall. And so I'm sure that they actually use the time travel to make fun of the constant time travel. I haven't seen it. I just my guess of
Yeah.
how Deadpool typically is written. Even the Deadpool in Disneyland is constantly making fun of Disney itself. Uh, that's Deadpool in a nutshell. Comedy, deprecating comedy is a
Hmm.
fun form of comedy because it shines it acknowledges faults that you have and faults that are there. We all know it's there. We can laugh at it,
Yeah.
um, but we're not like making fun of it to harm it. It's usually a fun stress relief and to have it, but um, the rest of it outside of Deadpool. Which funny thing is Deadpool would still have time travel without the whole Marvel
Yeah.
stuff because of the addition that they had with adding in. I'm trying
Cable.
to think of his Cable, because he's a time traveler, but
Yep.
they probably wouldn't have done too much of it. Um, so yeah, it's just the other shows with time travel. I think I just think they were trying to one up Thanos.
Hmm.
Um, and now because they built this whole one up with Kane, and they can't do that anymore because they had actor issues. Now they're gonna do a Doom now is the
Yeah.
idea.
Right.
But also, yeah, it's a weird mess they set themselves up for. I just don't want us to do a Star Wars.
And that's the beautiful thing
Um,
about it. I feel like Star Wars is doing
yeah,
really good by not allowing those kinds of things. But like you said, we're not dealing with all of this like, oh, it hinges on all of this trying to make up for this. Like, no, everything's supposed to be a
yeah.
new story, new developments, new
It
directors,
it
new.
did help that we cut. Well, Star Wars already had a defined canon,
Hmm.
but we did cut a lot of it. We trimmed a lot of fat when Disney took over,
Yeah.
and so it allowed a lot more of these licenses to write new stories.
Yes.
And to be honest, I know people. And this is people think it's a hot take. Um, we did need to recanonize a lot of stuff
Hmm.
because, as much as you hate how Disney rewrote it, those that actually deep read the books and old comics, you don't realize how much canon was so hard to trace
Yeah.
because there's so they allowed so many people writing these comics and books and games that they were constantly in
Yeah.
clash with each other. They were
It
you
would
could
have
not
became exactly how Marvel is, which
yeah
and I love Marvel comics, but when you have this many monkeys on typewriters, you
yeah
can't like the stories become jumbled up. And Star Wars got rid of that. Instead of having like, okay, well, how do we explain the Yuzong Vong and Luke having 4 kids and Mara Jade, but then not talk about any? Oh, we just say it's not canon. Sorry, we know you love those stories. We love those characters too. Here's some action figures. Here's still some books about Legends material stuff. But guess what? It's expanded universe. It's
yeah
Legends. We're gonna move on, and at least now all the things that are written as canon, are thought about. They're planned. It has to click in somewhere. And that's to me that's true story writing. That's how you get Wheel of Time versus, you know, Aragon. Two amazing series of fantasy and folklore, but one of them is much more modernized. One of them is very much like all over the place. Well, not Aragon really, but let's go with like WoW. Like, WoW had a divisive story at one point.
Oh, well, you talking about the old, but I would
Old,
say
yeah, old
current
WoW,
WoW.
old WoW, exactly.
Let's say Lord
Current
of the Rings would be a good example
Lord of the
of
yeah, but
one
it's
of
like
that.
yeah, it's like I don't want to trust. Hey, to you Tolkien and Wheel of Time fans, I'm not comparing them as series. I'm just saying one is growing too big for its britches, and now the shows and things being made about it don't make any sense. And one was
Yeah,
too big, so they tried to condense everything down, and that show also didn't make any sense. The Wheel of Time one was another. That was like a Halo for
yeah,
me.
it was Will of Time. It was one of those Netflix series, one of the
Yeah.
many Netflix series based on books that are just like, yeah, just they're terrible.
Why'd you bother?
There's just so many of them, so many those like series that they've been making on
hmm
Netflix. It's like it's a
So,
waste of money.
and that's a perfect example of how lucky we are for Star Wars to be in this middle ground where it doesn't have so much like Wheel of Time level of stuff that you would have to compress it, and no one likes that.
Yeah,
And we also don't have only the Lord of the Rings level of stuff where nothing's getting added on because no one's writing new stuff that is considered canon, and now it's all just a bunch of head canons and a bunch of like, you know,
yeah,
fan
because
stories.
it's stuck to one author, and
Mm-hmm.
then and nobody can write. And anytime somebody writes something, it's just like because we kind of had that when Lucas was in charge of George
Mm-hmm.
Lucas was in charge of most of it, besides the comics and novels. Um, so we kind of had where we were afraid to touch it, and he wasn't wanting to do another movie because he himself said that that's why he sold it to Disney because he said that he was just getting too old
Yeah.
and how long it took him to do episode 3, and he said that he just would not be physically able to do another movie. Um, so, and then there's some things that we dislike about Disney. Some things good, but it's nice that we have Disney. It's all in one place.
Yeah.
I feel like if we didn't have Disney anymore, we'd have either LucasArts would have their own like thing, or we'd have some on Netflix, some on
Yeah.
Hulu, or some on HBO or something. I don't know if we'd get them all in one go. I think they'd be constantly passed around.
And would we
Um,
have as many comics, as many books? Would we have as many shows if it was just Lucasfilm?
I
Who
think we would
knows?
have many comics and books, but I think we would just get conflicts like we have in the past. I think we'd just be
Because
more
remember
of
what
the
George wanted to do with that Underworld, Star Wars, like Underworld, where it was in the belly of Coruscant.
yeah.
That would probably be like CSI, where that would be a show that he had been making for the last 5 years, and he like that would be his serial show. He would be making weird little serial shows, Clone Wars style, you know, this noir underbelly of Coruscant style. The thing, and probably more on the spice trading and stuff to get Darth Maul and Darth Talon into it and whatnot. Like the stories would have been just as crazy, kooky, and fun, but at least with Disney, we get a lot of fans who have now lived into the world of filmmaking,
Yeah.
getting to make Star Wars stuff. I'm just
It's
so happy that it's all a
it's a lot
cohesive
more
line.
it's a lot more organized for sure too.
Oh, it's so much more organized. That's why we keep getting things like these exclusive timeline books, which I just bought.
Yeah.
You know, the Star Wars
It just
timeline, and that
doesn't
was
feel
already a
like
new
it
one.
because they keep releasing different like I think with the new movies coming out, I mean we'll be touching 4 different timelines
Yeah,
if we still keep having these shows and these timelines. And then if they do the pre Jedi, the early Jedi one, it'll be 5.
yeah.
So I'm hoping we at least close one of them. I'd hate to see it because I love the Mando timeline, but we do need to draw that one to a close eventually.
hmm
Or we'll be like again, it'll be like a Marvel thing where we just keep throwing stuff out, hoping you know, and that's the problem with some of these series is they're like see the success they had before, and so they have stuff like, hey, you remember this character? This is kind of like that character, but
Yeah.
something different.
It's like kicking a dead
Do you
body.
like this one? No. Okay, how about this one? It's
Yeah.
they did with like She-Hulk. It's like the Hulk. So you like that one? No. Okay, we have this other show. Remember Daredevil? Oh, do you like that one? Okay, maybe not. How about Black Widow? You like Black Widow? Do you like? No. Okay. So they just keep passing along.
Yeah.
Remember Loki? Loki? Yeah. Do you like? So
Oh, that one's Smash. Okay, cool. Yeah, Loki did good. Okay, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. And
we'll
then
do
they
another
haven't
one
made
of
another
those.
one.
So they did another season of Loki.
Yeah, and then
Um,
that, yeah.
yeah. So it's like, oh, Loki time travel. Got it. Let's just do that now.
That's now all the movies are TVA and stuff like that. That's it.
And so I don't want it to be that way with Star Wars. And we've had hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're as bad as a lot of people try to throw them out to be.
Oh yeah.
It's a huge exaggeration. But it's we've gotten good stuff. Way better stuff than what we've good of. So yeah, I don't
It
know.
could have been nothing. It could have literally
Yeah,
been a bunch of nothing. He could
because
have
yeah,
decided to never make another Star Wars, and we could have just ended
I have
it
a feeling this is
after
what we
Clone
would have
Wars and
had
Rebels.
for sure.
So I am ecstatic that we get to keep living in the galaxy far, far away, and they kind of protect themselves from any like Marvel shenanigan bullshit anyway. Because it'd be like, well, you'd have to go like super far in the past and travel through space to get to the Star Wars universe because that's not how they work. Like, it's almost like a protection from having to use time travel. Is one, there's the
Cool.
Force. Two, there's an afterlife that's already been
Yeah,
proven within the Force. And three, there is no like there's already interstellar travel between the world between worlds, but it's like
yeah,
again, it's magic. So they get to use that magic. Like we know Lord of the Rings again has that, where it's like,
yeah,
yeah, you can explain whatever you want because in the end it's magic.
yeah. The world between worlds. I hope it's just like if they ever touch on it, it's more of just like, hey, this is like what
Mm-hmm.
happened. Not something that can really affect
Yeah.
the past. Just they can see, you know, and I
And I
wish they
have
didn't
faith because I
include the
mean,
world between worlds just because of that. I don't want
mm-hmm,
them to, because the problem with time travel is because it's hard to define it. It's
mm-hmm,
like if I travel in time, does my actions create a new timeline? This is the whole
yeah.
like Back to the Future theory. Like, do I make a splintered timeline of like before I traveled, me affecting the time, and then when I come back, because I'm bouncing all over the place, does that make like three different timelines at that point?
Yeah.
Or does it like permanently affect? And if so, then why didn't we see it back then? So it's like,
Well,
so
that's why I like
it's
that Dave
yeah,
Filoni gets to be in charge now of all these new stories because he at least kind of did more concept of the world between worlds and invented that what we know of from Clone Wars because it works out because that was the thing. Everyone's like, well, hold on, how does Ahsoka live? It's like, oh, literally, yeah, Ezra pulls her to her safety, but you just didn't see it in that moment. She was literally
yeah.
pulled out. So it's like, no, there's not a timeline where she died and a timeline where she was saved. There's only she was pulled into the world between worlds and then let back out. So they've thankfully already kind of touched on that, but
Yeah, the only thing we saw close to that's the Ahsoka thing.
mm-hmm,
Um, so I'm hoping it's just like Anakin Force Ghost maybe.
exactly. And she was
And
kind of
it's
dead, so she was like, in between worlds anyway.
and not like her like touching in the past.
Yes.
So
Yeah, and that's what
uh,
I like about it too, because like with Luke's encounters with his father from the books, it's never been like he goes back in time. No, it's the ghost of Anakin goes to him and helps him.
and I'm hoping that's what we saw.
Hmm.
Is they could embellish it more and say, hey, no, she went back in time and there's
Yeah.
like I hope that's just I hope that's because it didn't seem like fully that, but they could go that way. That's the only way I could see that we could get this timeline travel
Hmm.
or different dimensions. But I
Well,
mean, you can see anybody does it. We've seen them mess with it with Marvel, but one of the biggest messes DC's been doing it for years,
yeah.
and it is. I mean, how many different character like variants of characters you see? There's like millions of different variants of Batman, not including like the revamps of different
Hmm.
Batmans, but just like universe, different universes of Batmans, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just yeah, I don't know, can't keep up with it. It's all over the place, and I like a story that has well defined laws. It's okay
Yeah.
if they have different laws, like the Force, but we gotta have like there's gotta be like north is this way. We gotta have some kind of defined natural laws
Yeah.
in place. Otherwise, you lose. You get stuck in this constant plot hole mess, and
Yep.
it's hard to keep track. We'll go back to the
Then
mess that
eventually
we
you just have to
had.
like reset a universe, like
Yeah,
again, Marvel and DC have done multiple times. Just Nope. Okay, reset. New one. Wipe the board clean. So again, yeah, it's awesome that Star Wars doesn't have to rely on that, and I love that again with the Force, like what we heard with Yoda and all that. They even say like, yeah, no, after you die and you become one with the Force, time doesn't exist. You are in the present, the past, the future. You're all of it. You are time. So it's like, okay, cool. So there's no like time travel. It's just like they explained it all in their weird mystical sagey way perfectly enough to where no one has to really mess with it. And they have so much open space. It would be so stupid. Just honestly, the word stupid. Yeah, like it would honestly be dumb when you have all of the Old Republic still, so much of the High Republic, so much
Yeah.
after Rey to talk about, and then to try and do a multiverse thing. No, just keep telling the stories.
Yeah, there is a lot of frontier out there.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still do a lot. There's so much of the Old Republic that hasn't been touched on if you're afraid to, and I still think they shouldn't touch on a lot of the timeline because of just fan backlash.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot of Old Republic out there that you could cover.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just yeah, and we're doing even the prior to the Old Republic with the early Jedi stuff and
Oh, Dawn of the
so yeah,
Jedi.
yeah.
Yes.
So
So excited.
we can cover that. We
Yep.
can add to that. Yeah, we don't need to make just this mess.
Yeah, I don't need Mace Windu versus Darth Vader. I don't need Jango Fett going up against Boba Fett to see which one's the better Fett. Like, I don't need none of that. I'm good.
Yeah, leave that to the fans to theorize. That's
Mm-hmm.
what gets us engaging. We don't need Disney to officially release saying, "Hey, this is this is that." Let us theorize. How that would have happened.
We will
Um,
never know if Mace Windu could kill Darth Vader, just like we'll never know what Yoda's species is or where the fuck they're from. It's not in the deck of cards, man. It's not allowed. Can't happen. That was literally like, I love that Star Wars has so a few things that George was like, I'll sell you the company, but you got to promise you can't talk about these things. Oh, is there an answer? No, there's not an answer. That's the whole point. There is no answer to like the exact origins of the Force. I'm sure are gonna always be mysterious. Yoda
well, yeah,
species,
it
like
needs to be.
yeah, they're not trying to explain everything. But then again, that's also because we don't have like yeah, Star Wars has been around for a while. Marvel was around for a little bit longer. Marvel's been around the block for a good few hardy amount of time to the point where, of
Yeah.
course, it's seen a lot of stories repeated. But within the Star Wars universe, there's just so much terrain, and we've proven now with Andor and with all these other shows that we can do no lightsabers or a lot of lightsabers. Like that doesn't make or break the show.
Yeah.
We just have the writing be good, have the things
Yeah.
inside of it be interesting enough. It's like with movies, like, it's just
Yeah.
the same thing.
Star Wars universe is so big that you could do so much with it.
Mm-hmm.
You could do, like I said, you focus on Jedi's, you can focus on Sith, focus the rest in between. You can do the Clone Wars, you could do other wars, you could do the life of some Joe Blow as
Mm-hmm.
he deals with his the encroaching Empire, the encroaching Sith, whatever. So there's even more of that. There's so many planets, different, so many races, so many cultures, so many major events.
Yeah.
And you could cover. Hey, you want to cover um, the Galactic Civil War, the Clone Wars again? We'll do it on some random planet with
Yeah.
some random guy and how they deal with it. Because there's still engagements that are happening, or they're like how they experience the stormtroopers, either good or bad, or the Rebel Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much untold story out there that we don't need to deal with that. That's
Yeah.
the great thing about us and like Marvel is they're not based on Earth. So we already starting with this giant area that we can play with.
Yep. We got a whole galaxy at our fingertips. There's no reason to rush back
And
into
even
the old
beyond that
stuff.
galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah. So Star Wars is definitely looking at bright, prosperous futures as we have Skeleton Crew finally coming out.
Yeah.
We have Andor with next year. We have so many amazing collectibles still being announced, coming out. The pipeline will ever be filled, and the wallet will forever be emptied. Um, it's going to be a lot of fun stuff as we keep this universe booking and moving. And yeah, no multiverse, guys. So that's the big thing. let's also talk about that. I would love to hear y'all's opinions down in that comment section about what you guys think of a multiverse. Should Star Wars be aware of itself? I think no. I'm sure Mike feels about the same way. We don't need Star Wars to be a self-aware universe. It's fine in the bubble that it's in. So put your thoughts down in those comments as well. We're looking forward to continuing, even though the drought is coming upon us. You know, we're running out of Star Wars stuff to talk about that's new. We have plenty of old things to cover, plenty of old stories, plenty of old games. Who knows? Well, maybe we'll do a few gaming podcasts and stuff like that. So plenty of new stuff.
We also got Outlaws and Unlimited to cover. So you'll definitely see some more Unlimited content, pack openings.
Yeah.
And still we're working on doing some gameplay for those that want to see some gaming. So
yes. So a lot of new exciting things for the Star Wars community, as we have so many other mediums to go through besides just what is on the screen in front of us. Guys, thank you so much for staying with us, for talking, for chatting, and of course for listening to the podcast. We hope you have an amazing rest of your evening, and as always, may the Force serve you well.
And may the Force be with you.